order, but I am going to suggest that there are items that don't require formal action of the board that we can undertake, specifically item 5, public comments, although I don't see too many people in the room. Why don't we go ahead and call for public comments and see if there's anybody that would like to address the board.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, how many people do we need for quorum? Because we have one less commissioner.
Kinlock will be here.
Oh. No, but Lane Coleman is resigned? He has. So we don't have 7. We have 6. We still need, yeah, we need a majority, which is still 4. Okay. But we understand Jonathan is on his way. Look, we'll do what we can do. All right, let's proceed.
Okay, Mr. Chair, good afternoon. Brian Peckapaw, Public Affairs Director for Detroit Water and Sewerage Department. I'll give the instructions for public comment. To make a comment, if you are in person, please sign the sign-in sheet. Your name will be called and you can proceed to the microphone. It looks like there's no one in person here. If you are online, please raise your hand by using the raise hand icon on your desktop or mobile device. If you are calling into the meeting by phone, press *9 to raise your hand. If you're online using the Zoom app or on the phone, after your name is called, you will get permission to unmute. In order to begin speaking, you will have to unmute yourself. To do so, press the unmute button, which is the microphone icon if you're online or on the app, or *6 if you are calling in. At the beginning of a comment, please share your full name in the community or neighborhood you live, work in, or are representing. The timer will start after your introduction. You will have a limit of 3 minutes to make your comment, and please keep your comments to public comment. This is not an opportunity to request information or data, which can be done through the city website and Legistar. If you're online to make a comment, in order for DWSD staff to follow up with you, we kindly request you complete the comment card link in the chat. You will only be called upon once. Once the chair closes public comment, there will be no other comments from the public, and all attendees will remain muted for the duration of the meeting. And we'll go straight to online comments since there's no one here in person. And the first person is, Mr. Chair, Bridget Scallion. Bridget Scallion.
Give me the last name again, please.
Scallion.
Gallagher? Galvin.
No, it's actually,
Yes.
hi, it's actually Scallen, Scallen.
Thank you.
Welcome.
You have the floor, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. As a person concerned with public health and who suffered a water shutoff as a tenant of Jeffrey Cohen while I had COVID, I'm following up on a problem that I brought to your attention in June. DWSD is permitting non-payment for years by a landlord who owns a $1.454 million mansion in Brush Park, as well as other rental properties he profits from. Meanwhile, people who are not in thousands of dollars in debt to DWSD are stressed about water shutoff, and in some cases have experienced it. Little more than a decade ago, DWSD came under criticism for human rights violations and alleged constitutional violations of due process when contractors shut off water of residents who are unable to pay. In June, 3 months ago, when I brought to attention that Jeff Cohen of Detroit owes DWSD almost $40K and had not paid the water sewage bill for many years in a few of the rental properties he profits from, I also provided packets of FOIA data that had taken me several hours to compile. Yesterday, I spoke with your Assistant General Counsel, Jimmy Boudreau, and received the update that Cohen is now on an easy pay payment plan for the properties, except for 82 Alfred, the $1.45 million mansion, and 620 Virginia Park. Each of these houses are vehicles of his business assets, not actual safe and stable residences. As such, I believe they should be held to a higher standard than the average Detroiter, 40% of Detroiters, as you know, live in poverty, who actually also live in the house for which they owe water and sewage debt. The UN Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights stated that disconnections due to non-payment are only permissible if it can be shown that the resident is able to pay but is not paying. I'm afraid this allowance by DWSD of Easy Pay payment plan for a landlord who owes almost $40,000 is a return or continuation by DWSD to a problematic past of inequitable enforcement favoring commercial over residential and people who have power and influence. The ACLU letter to DWSD and Mayor Duggan in 2014 stated that the department was, until recently, targeting residential customers for water shutoffs while allowing corporate clients who owed tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars to retain their service. And that DWSD has announced that this differential treatment occurred because the contractors hired to physically shut off the water were not properly equipped to do so for larger entities like stadiums. However, I'm bringing to your attention that shutting off the water of a landlord is not such an involved operation. At the same time, it's DWSD's responsibility not only to ensure equal and equitable enforcement of payment in Detroit, one of the poorest cities in the United States, but also that to protect the rights of tenants so that nobody has to experience.
Ms. Scallion, your time is up.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, we ask that anybody who wanted to make public comment, please raise their hand at this time. If you raise your hand after this 2:07 time, you will not be called upon. The next person is Tiffany DuPont Anderson.
Ms. Anderson,
Good afternoon.
good afternoon.
Thank you for allowing me to speak. I have a couple questions, comments. I happen to be currently unemployed, so I can attend these meetings in the middle of the day. But my concern is with the transparency and ability to access these meetings. Because is there a possibility that these meetings will be held at a later time of day, maybe once? I'm suggesting once every other month or once a quarter, so that the general public residents of the city of Detroit could have access to these meetings. Because if I was still working, I would be at work dealing with students at this time, so I wouldn't be able to actively access this meeting. Also, you say put things in the chat, and the chat is disabled. And I've been attending these meetings no less than 6 months, and every time I am in the meeting, the chat has been disabled. Also, you ask for public comment for people that's in the room, people that are online, but you never see the YouTube video is the streaming at the same time. You check that to see if anybody has any questions or comments in that in real time, because if it's streaming live in real time, people may have questions that could not get them on the online or in the room there, and they need to be able to ask those questions in real time. My second thing is the fact that the public comment is at the beginning of a meeting versus the end of the meeting, after you've gone over all the things that you're discussing in the meeting. I think that will be an adjustment that will make it easier for people to actually comment on what they heard in the meeting versus what they heard last month. And I mean, which is actually, if you comment on what you heard last month, it's a moot point. So my suggestions are to enable the chat, ask questions across all platforms, offer an option to see the meetings, to attend the meetings in the evening after traditional work hours, and move the public comment to the end of the meeting. So that's all I'm asking for at this time as a resident of the city of Detroit.
Oh, thank you very much, Ms. Anderson.
The next person is Cecily McClellan.
McClellan? Yes, Ms. McClellan? Oh, wait.
Yes.
Hang on just a minute, Ms. McClellan. We have a quorum, and so I'm going to ask the secretary, I'm going to call the meeting to order, and then I'm going to ask the secretary to call the roll.
Chairman Einhauser,
Present.
Commissioner Davis, Commissioner Garcia, Commissioner Kinlock, Vice Chair Blackman, and Commissioner Forte are absent.
Right, and we should announce for the record that Commissioner Coleman has resigned from the Board of Commissioners, so we now have a working number of 6 individuals, but that still requires 4 to constitute a quorum. All right, we'll return to public comments, and Ms. McClellan, you have the floor, ma'am.
Thank you very much for this opportunity to speak. I would like to indicate that the comparison that was done by Deborah Pospick, I think still was premature in view of the fact that House Bill 4555 has not been fully introduced and won't be fully introduced until next month. I think that there are other elements in the bill that are extremely beneficial, to the resident population. So to do a comparison on just specific on certain elements, I think was not a true representation. I think in terms of the no funding source identified, we've identified numerous ways in which funding could be accumulated, for an affordable program. One early on was penalties and late fees, and that was how the DARWAP, the Detroit Residential Water Assistance Program, initially was funded, and that should be considered. We also have shared with this body and the Water Department our Moonshot Survey, where we surveyed 6 different municipalities throughout the state of Michigan and found that we could fund this program with a rate increase of 10% or less, with the exception of one outlier, which happened to be Benton Harbor at that time. And we're not opposed to the rate being connected, to funding this program. We differ with the Water Department's interpretation of the Headley Amendment, which indicates that, you have to take any new taxes to a vote. We don't believe that this will be a tax. And just like you increase your rates, it's not going before a Headley for approval. This could be considered as well. Additionally, it's considered that we didn't consider anyone in terms of shutoffs. No, this program is primarily focused on the income levels that we have identified in our proposal. It does not exclude or include persons that have high incomes or even commercial properties. So I don't think that's a real fair representation. The other concern I have is still with the Detroit Lifeline H2O. I think that program is being set up that no new persons will be able to get into it. Everybody that we receive contacts and calls from, they they usually have an arrearage. That's one of the reasons they want to get assistance. So to eliminate anybody that has an arrearage, to me, is just a non-starter for a water affordability program. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, the next person is Norel Hemphill.
Ms. Hemphill?
Yes, good afternoon to the Board of Water Commissioners, and thank you for this opportunity for us to give public comment. My name is Norel Hemphill, and I'm the Legal and Policy Manager at We the People of Detroit. As Ms. McClellan raised, we do have some issues that we've brought before this board before. We want to continue to lift them. And I want to start where I'll start my comments where she ended about the presentation that Attorney Deborah Pospish did on September 3rd at the Legal and Government Affairs Committee for the Board of Water Commissioners. As Ms. McClellan said, the comparison of the Senate package and the one Devendorf bill was indeed premature, and that's House Bill 4555. And again, that was just one bill of a five-bill package to be introduced. So to compare a bill to a package is just inequitable. There's other features that were missing from that bill that would maybe answer some of those questions and some of the feedback that she gave on the bill during that meeting. So we ask that in the future, if you could please do um, a more realistic and equitable comparison. Uh, pack doing the Devendorf package, the Affordable Water Now package, to that Senate package will probably give a better give the public and I think the water utility a better understanding of those bills. And regardless of whether or not you think there's issues with the bill, I think that there's nothing that does not that precludes DWSD from supporting. The question of whether or not that's an unfunded mandate would be a question for the finder of facts. It's excuse me, it would be a question of law, not facts, because it it would run afoul of that Michigan constitutional requirement, especially since our water department is supposed to provide water for the good of the public health and safety. Additionally, um, Easy Pay, as we mentioned before, does need some type of change to allow for residents with higher arrears. For example, if there's a resident with an arrears of $5,000, which is not unheard of, and spreading that over 36 months, that's almost a $140 bill on top of their water bill. So we've had some residents come to us with those issues, and if we could provide for a solution for them. Thank you so much, and everybody have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, the next person is D'Amico Williams.
Right. Mr. Williams? D'Amico? Are you there?
Yes, hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, hi, good afternoon, board members. Chief Executive Director of Hydrate Detroit. We represent people with their water bills, high water bills at 5,000 or more. And also, we provide assistance and advocacy to residents that are having a tough time with their water bills. I want to start off by looking at the resolution that's before you today in the policy regards to DWSD Lifeline H2O, and my couple of issues with it. And I listed it in the list of recommendations. This policy is being rushed. We've had conversation, but we haven't had a final conversation with the final draft and to get our reaction on it. Also, we have not had a final consensus as a group or organizations with the Detroit Act. I mean, we needed to have more time in order to present, actual recommendations so that this could be done in the right due process in a fashion that is suitable for our residents. So there's no more confusion, no more intimidation, no more fear, no more back and forths across this table, no more drag down, punch down fights or have you. We need to do this right. The first thing I want to say is the price point need to be changed from $34 to $25 a month to reflect the coronavirus restart program pricing. And also it needs to be capped at that amount, and seniors should have a amount of $18 a month. Some of them are losing their Social Security, Medicaid benefits, and higher cost of living. At least their water bills can be subsidized and affordable. Also, it should include those that have been faithful on that $43 and $56 payment plans. How many people do we have that paid their bill off and zeroed out, but also those that are making the effort. So when I keep asking for this information, and yes, Mr. Phillips have been uh, responsive to this organization. He has spoken with me and showed me the data. I still feel that there needs to be more concentration on moving those customers over without the recertification. Yeah, they can recertify, but you already have that information, or Wayne Metro has that information, and it could be verified and put upon so they would not be any service interruptions. Also, I feel that those that I do see the 3 consecutive payment plan and the notices. Thank you very much for that. We wanted to make sure that people had time to respond and actually do due process before they were removed. And also, we don't do repeat offenders. Those repeat offenders, sorry about that, but I think this is we should slow down and definitely get this done the correct way.
All right, thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Williams was the last person.
Say it again, please.
Mr. Williams is the last person.
Oh, okay. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to address the board? All right, hearing none, then we will close public participation, and we will go back to item 3, the approval of the agenda for today's meeting. Yes, to Commissioner Davis.
Of today's agenda.
Been moved. Is there a second? Been moved and seconded. Any revisions to the agenda as presented? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. That is unanimously approved. Next, item 4, the approval of the minutes of August the 20th, 2025. Your pleasure, commissioners.
Move approval, Mr. Chairman, for the minutes.
Commissioner Garcia, is there support? It's been moved and seconded. Any corrections or changes to the minutes as presented? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. And that is adopted unanimously. Item number 6, there is no communications. Item number 7, are there any items from commissioners? Hearing none. Yes, Commissioner Garcia.
Item, and I thought I had spoken to Matt about the issue of the insurance that I thought it was an issue on the insurance that we have been supporting. And the price increase went over 65%. I think, and I will wait to see if Matt wants a comment on that, but I definitely think that because we supported it wholeheartedly for our residents of the city of Detroit, I think we need to at least make sure it's on an issue that we need to discuss. Thank you.
Any other items from commissioners? Then item 8, unfinished business. There is none. I don't think there's ever any unfinished business on any of the agendas that come before us. Item 9, the approval of the consent agenda. The consent agenda consists of items 9A through I, or is it L? It is I, which were considered in great detail at the committee level, principally the Finance Committee. And so they come to us with the recommendation of the Finance Committee for their approval. It requires unanimous consent. So let me ask, does any commissioner wish to remove any item from the consent agenda to be considered by itself? Hearing none, and a motion to approve the consent agenda is in order.
Chairman, I move approval.
And is there support?
Mr. Chairman.
Any discussion with regard to any of the items on the consent agenda? Hearing none, and we're spending a lot of money, but I want to repeat, these were considered in great detail at the committee level. All those in favor of adopting the consent agenda as presented, please say aye. And that is unanimously adopted. Item 10, new business. We have a proposed motion. Commissioners? Yes, Commissioner Davis.
Move that the Board of Water Commissioners for the City of Detroit Water and Sewage Department approves to repeal the current Lifeline policy and approve the City of Detroit Water and Sewage Department's Lifeline H2O policy for water affordability and authorizes the director to take such other action as may be necessary to accomplish the intent of this vote.
And is there support? There is support. All right. Mr. Phillip, is somebody going to present?
Yeah, Jane had a question.
Commissioner Garcia.
Repeal of the current is going to be replaced with something else?
Yes, we're going to hear about that right now.
Then that was my only question. Thank you, sir.
Before he presents, can I just paint a picture, because there were a lot of comments at public comment that spoke to we should slow down, we should not move forward with this. I just want to highlight the fact that, you know, I had a meeting with several state senators today about funding for Lifeline. We know for a fact that last year, or 23, 24, or calendar year, we got $60 million from the state for Lifeline. 60 million for the whole state, wasn't just for DWSD. We know that the governor has in the budget that hasn't been approved yet, a lot of controversy about the budget 2 weeks to go before it gets approved. The governor put $7 million into that for affordability programs statewide. We know that the Senate added another $6 million for a total of 13. And my conversation with senators today was, had access to 60 million, that's what we need for this one. We'll be glad to get the 13. We're not going to turn it down. We'll be glad to get it, but we really need more. So when people say slow down, we have 3.5 million that we got through GLEWA, through the RAP program that we're currently sitting on right now. And what Matt is going to walk through is a very strategic plan. We are cautiously optimistic that at some point we will receive some additional funding from the state. And when we do, we want to make sure that people are already certified the way that the state requires them to recertify every year. Come in and show how many people are in the household and that your income is still at the level necessary. So if they're already pre-certified and we receive additional dollars, we just roll them right into the program. And so I just, you know, we're fighting for every dollar we can get out of the state. And we'd like our advocates to, our water advocates to stand with us and make those calls to Lansing to support. You know, to be criticized for comparing our bill, the bill that DWSD was instrumental in writing with Senator Chang introducing it. We've compared that bill to the bill that they call in for meetings, bill number 4555. And there are supposedly 4 bills attached, but they've only introduced one. Seen the other 3. And so we can't compare. We until they're introduced and we get a copy of them, we can't compare them to the bill that we wrote. We only know that the one bill that was introduced, that DWSD would have to see serious amendments to that bill before we could support it. Now, whether the other three bills change that or not, we won't know until they get introduced. But right now, they haven't been introduced, and the only bill that is introduced is Senator Chang's bill, which we wholeheartedly support as a way of not fully funding, but at least partially funding Lifeline until we can find additional federal or state dollars. So I'll leave it there and let Matt walk you through.
Correctly. The caution that we have is whether or not the state is going to impose unfunded mandates on us. And it does nothing to put an obligation on us without also sending us a check so that we have the ability to meet that obligation. So, I mean, and that just makes sense.
Well said.
Okay. Mr. Phillips.
Commissioners. At the committee meeting, this very subject was brought forward. And the motion was to amend the current Lifeline policy and introduce some changes to it, which we labeled the H2O program, or the Lifeline H2O program. The reason why this is not on the consent agenda today, and it was moved to new business, is because there was a small change to the motion. And the motion is for clarity, not only for the board, but also for the public, we change one word from amend to repeal. And so this motion here today that was moved to new business from the consent agenda was to repeal the current Lifeline policy and to approve the Lifeline H2O. So again, 2 weeks ago at the committee meeting, I did present the differences and the changes and the revisions that were made. So the only difference in this motion is just the word repeal the current Lifeline policy and change it to approve the Lifeline H2O. That is the only difference. I would be more than happy to answer any questions that anyone has about the differences between the two, but in the sake of time.
Okay. Are there any questions? All right, hearing none, thank you very much. Are we prepared to vote? And Commissioner Garcia, your questions have been answered?
I'm sorry, Matthew, did we say that we would discuss how we were going to talk to these people? I know I did talk to the people that you referred me to on the insurance issue for the residents. And they said they were going to get back to us on how they could resolve some of these issues, because it wasn't a 5% increase, it wasn't 10%, it was like 62% increase, which I think we would lose a lot of the residents because they can't afford to go from $99 to $165. So I don't know what exactly they told you. They were going to come back and talk to us about it. But I did notify Mary, and I thought because we needed to talk about how we can resolve this, and we don't have the funds to cover the difference for the people and the residents, that we encourage them to take the insurance, obviously in the long run. I know that there was an issue that they turned out paying more money than they collected. I'm not sure what the issue was, but so what? That was the issue. This city is an old city. I'm not sure what they were thinking about, but I just think that we need to advocate to make sure that our residents get a fair shake in this. And obviously 65% increase is not acceptable. Thank you. I wanted to make sure we talked about that.
And just for clarity, Commissioner Garcia is specifically asking questions about the AWR insurance policy that's on the water and sewer lines of individual households, not on specifically the Lifeline H2O policy. But to answer your question, Commissioner Garcia, AWR, or Encourse as they're called today, has agreed to come in at a future meeting to discuss the things that you and Jeff spoke about on the phone.
And that insurance policy is voluntary. So anybody who's signed up for it, if the increase is more than they can afford, they can discontinue it. But I think your point is well taken. All right, on the consent agenda. Not the consent agenda, on the change to Lifeline H2O. All those in favor, please say aye. And all those opposed? And that is adopted. Right, thank you. Next, we come to the director's report. Mr. Director.
Yeah, I'm going to yield to Mr. Smalley, to Deputy Director, to walk you through the highlights of the report.
Sam Smalley, Deputy Director. I'll just be really brief. Year to date, as of Monday, we've cleaned 481 miles of sewer. We have an annual goal of 600, so our operations and maintenance men and women are on good pace to exceed that goal. So far this year, we've cleaned 5,043 catch basins. The goal is to clean 8,000, so they're on pace to meet that one as well. We're continuing our private sewer repair program and basement backup protection program in specific council districts. We were able to complete 33 of those last week, and we're continuing with our lead service line project as well, although it is slowing down to some degree due to funding shortfall. I think those are the highlights, Mr. Chair.
The report itself, which is in your materials, is much more voluminous and covers a number of other topics, but any questions or comments from the board regarding what Mr. Smalley has reported or anything else? Okay, that doesn't require action. Let's move to item 12, comments by commissioners. Any commissioners have any comments to make? Yes, Commissioner Kinlock.
Mr. Chair, I definitely want to say that since I've been on this water commission, that this department, the executive staff, the legal team has consistently, down through the years, worked with our water advocates, along with this board, to make sure that we had in place the best possible, under the current circumstances, water affordability plan. This department has done everything that it possibly could, not to have to turn off individuals' waters. But we've made it clear that we cannot use ratepayers' dollars in order to create a permanent program. We have been saying, and particularly the director have been explaining to us, that we have to, but before all of this current rendition of individuals who are now introducing bills and lands, and the water advocates in this community have been fighting for years to get a permanent solution. And everybody right now is acting as if what DWSD has done is not life-changing for the people who can't afford water. It is absolutely a pathway for individuals and corporations and organizations to be able to keep their water turned on. And that's what we've always, every meeting is about not having to turn off residents' water, how to restore service for various infrastructure issues. And so I commend this department. I commend the mayor. I commend all of us for the work that we do to try to make sure that folks have water service and that we do our best with the limited resources. This is a big city and a lot of people are in need to continue to maintain a program that keep water service on. So I commend you all. I just had to say that for the record.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And let me just say that what you just passed, we have 650,000 residents in the city of Detroit. What you just passed, more than 100,000 residents are going to get some form of assistance, either through Lifeline or through Easy Pay. 100,000 residents are going to be affected by either Lifeline or Easy Pay, where they're receiving assistance through these programs. So I know that the money was cut. We'd like to do more, but I don't want to, short we are helping a lot of people. And when we get more money, we will be able to even help more. So thank you for approving H2O. We all want it to be a bigger, bolder program. But until we can find the dollars to do that, we're going to have to live within our budget. Sam and I were in a meeting with the mayor today, and we're looking at the city's overall budget for next year. And the CFO is warning all city departments that next year's budget is only $2,000 in surplus. And so every department in city government, based on all the cuts that have been made coming out of Washington and the tariffs, the city receives corporate income tax based on the profits of the big three. They're not making the profits that they were making, and so they will not be paying the corporate income tax that they've paid in the past. And Sam and I have been telling our staff for the last year, get ready to live within the budget. And that means the rate dollars that we have available to operate DWSD. We no longer are going to have the buy infrastructure law or the ARPA money or all the other dollars that came along. So in order to be able to help 100,000 Detroit residents with the dollars that we have is a heavy lift. And we appreciate that you approved that today. And nobody wants more than we do to be able to even help more, but we're going to have to live within our budget.
Yes, Commissioner Garcia.
With my colleague, Jonathan, but I also want to make sure that things have changed in Lansing, and we all know that. I don't know how it's going to be in the coming year. I'm very concerned of the uncertainty, not only at the national level, but how it's going to impact on us locally. I guess we just have to, bite the bullet and pray that, that we do as much colleague support using our colleagues and not afraid to call the people that are in charge and voice our concerns. I mean, they are responsible for the state. So I think that it's very important that we continue the advocacy and writing letters and making sure that because we're Detroiters that we shouldn't be left out. I just think that's very important as we move forward in this uncertain time, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Just one other point to that. And, I had this conversation. We know that there are lots of dollars coming from Washington for transportation to fix roads. Because then the water mains are under the roads. So maybe we go in and we ask for dollars through the transportation department that is designed to put in a new road. Why put in a new road over old infrastructure that's going to break and have you? So we're not going to be successful going in and asking for affordability dollars, but can we be successful in asking for transportation infrastructure dollars that can help offset rates in another way? So I just think we're going to have to be creative and do things differently than we've done in the past and try to get to the place that we want to be until things change.
All right. Are there any comments by commissioners? Hearing none, the chair has no comments. Are there any other matters to come before the board? The request that we adopt a motion to go into closed session to get advice from legal counsel. Is there a motion?
So move, Mr. Chair. Mr. Reed. Okay, yes, Mr. Chair, I move that the Board of Water Commissioners meet in closed session to consult with legal counsel pursuant to Section 8H and Section 8 of the Michigan Open Meetings Act to discuss ongoing litigation for the Board of Water Commissioners.
And is there support? It's been moved, it's supported. Would the clerk please call the roll? Yes.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
Commissioner Garcia? Yes. Commissioner Kinlaw?
Yes. All right, that's been adopted, so we'd like to thank and excuse those who are not part of making the presentations with regard to the items for the closed meeting.